Hey, if you're listening, welcome to Mommy Muse podcast with your host, Kaylin Lavina. I'm feeling very passionate this morning. So passionate that I had to come in my son's room in his nursing chair, my nursing chair, to just record what's on my mind straight from the dome. Because I don't have time to get ready, because the way that I feel right now is on fire. I feel on fire because this past week has been an interesting one, but I just realized I've been seeing so many creators use mothers as scapegoats for their content, and it's actually starting to piss me off. And I was like, Kaylin, this is why you have a podcast, to be able to talk about these things. So here I am. What I'm feeling right now is frustration, because I saw a creator putting out a message that I could tell she firmly believed and stood on. But in the process of her sharing that message, she kind of undermined what it is to be a mother and the depth that is included with being a mother. And I'm so tired of seeing these types of things where these creators are talking about themselves or their perspective, but using mothers as a scapegoat to make themselves feel better. Prime example, a creator was mocking how mothers will be vlogging their life and always covering their child's face. Her caption was like, "Why even record, LMAO?" And I'm like to myself, because she's a content creator with children. And if you are a parent, you understand that there are weirdos out there, and you don't always want them looking at your child's face. It's kind of simple. 1 + 1 = 2. But to them and to her and all the people who are commenting, agreeing with her, they think it's a call for attention. And I understand there is a such thing as performative parenting. However, that's also protective parenting while also being a creator. So both things can exist. A parent can be protective of their child and not wanting to share their child's face. I see massive influencers do it all the time, where they have millions of followers and they've decided they do not want to share their child's face. That's very understandable. But why can't they still get their bag through their content? If they want to do a family vlog and not show their child's face, they don't have to. But it's still just as valuable as someone who's doing a day in the life without children, or a day in the life with children and you don't show their face at all. It's their form of content. But why are we monetizing off of hating on the way moms do their shit? Another creator mentioned something about moms, or basically she's saying women who are not moms and wives or partners or whatnot don't actually want to be wives. They just need to connect with an inner, deeper part of themselves to birth that thing that's could be something artistic, like dropping an album or writing a screenplay, or something creative. And I was thinking to myself, I understand that so much, but I also don't like the reasoning of backing it up with it was almost like she was saying, yeah, women already get applauded for being moms, but are you getting applauded for creating that masterpiece? Like, that's what you're actually looking for. Yeah, being a mom, like, yeah, cool. But like, what you really need to do is tap into your art. And I just felt like that's catering to a specific audience, and I respect that, but I don't agree, because I'm a mother. And I feel like when it gets to a point where you need to compare or create a parallel between, you don't actually want to be a mom, you just want to create something. As a mom, before I was a mom, I was a creator. And it was still difficult to create those things from within. Before I even wanted to be a mom, before I even wanted to be a wife, I was an artist. Being an artist has always been who I am. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. You get to create things from scratch, ideas from ideas that you came up with. That's the beautiful thing about artistry. But it takes discipline, it takes practice, it takes working on your craft, it takes consistency, it takes, did I say discipline? It takes those things in order for your art to flourish. And sometimes you could be doing all of the right things and still get zero acknowledgement, zero applause. There's mothers out there who were struggling to get pregnant at some point of their life, and then it finally happened. That is a miracle. That doesn't take a lot of work. That's just simply a miracle. So when we start comparing artistry to becoming a mom and making it seem like, oh yeah, everyone gets an applause for becoming a mom. No, they don't. Moms who were infertile for years got zero acknowledgement when they finally became pregnant. Moms who never wanted children and maybe their life changed instantly, and then now they're a single mom and struggling and blah, blah, blah. It has nothing to do with being special because you procreated and because you did something that, you know, a woman's body is designed to do. It's simply a piece of evolving and growing as a woman, and it's a piece of growing and multiplying your family. But when you are making it seem like being an artist is parallel to becoming a mom, it starts getting weird. It starts getting weird because, yes, I can understand the form in which you're saying, but if you're not a mom and you're speaking that way about it, it comes off almost like, well, do you actually want to be a mom? And you're kind of frustrated that you're not a mom yet. So therefore, you're tapping into those other things that make you fulfill your inner creation. I don't know. But basically, well, I do know, but that's my thoughts on that. It just, like, leave moms out of it. You know, moms really do go through a lot to create a life. It is a miraculous thing. It's unexplainable. But you know what's not unexplainable? Writing an album, designing a collection, becoming an artist. Those are things that can be learned. Those are things that can evolve over time with practice, with commitment. And people do. I agree that people should tap into that, because sometimes when you aren't quite where you want to be in your life, it's because there's either a heart condition problem, or there's a life lesson that needs to be learned, or something's just missing. And what I'm just seeing more and more is that people are blaming their discontent on society praising having a family. It's okay for both to be true. Like, we can praise families and mothers because they deserve to be praised, because they go through life endangering, real scary shit. I don't think that you can compare having writer's block to a C-section and being afraid for your life. It's fear-inducing. Both are fear-inducing, but it's not comparable. So when I'm hearing these things and I'm seeing how confident creators are talking about this topic, and then realizing they're not moms and they don't have this perspective, it all just kind of boils down to assumptions and what they think and how to make themselves feel better and how to make themselves feel more important, because they feel like society hypes up, you know, mothers and stuff like that, and not enough of artists. And you know how many moms are out there, and do you know how many artists are out there? We could say both are not special, but they are. They are special. Both things are special. I happen to be both. I'm a mom and an artist. You know, I love both. I had a baby, I'm married, and guess what? I still am looking to feel fulfilled, because there's always something deeper. There's always something more to grab. There's always a way to tap in to your deeper self. So, yeah, that's my thought on that. And I'm happy that I have this platform that I created for myself to speak about it. Do I have a ton of listeners? No. Do I want a ton of listeners? Of course. Do I have them? Maybe not yet. But am I still showing up? Am I still, challenging myself to show up for myself in this way? Yes. because I know that there's more inside. I know that there's more. And that's why I didn't even feel like getting ready and doing my hair and makeup and all of that shit. Sometimes you just need to hear it from the heart and not with this, I'm going to present myself to speak. Like, no, fuck all that. This is my life. Not playing. But it's just very disappointing, especially when this mindset comes from people who were close to you and you've had to basically reevaluate who you have close to you, because then they start to lack any regard or understanding for what it is to be a mother and what sacrifices need to be made. I recently shared a story on my TikTok. I think it's at like 20,000 views now, but I was basically sharing a story about a friend whose wedding that I went to back in July. But long story short, we are no longer friends. We do not talk anymore. She ghosted me because I communicated my feelings, and I simply don't think she wanted to hear my feelings, or maybe she didn't feel my feelings mattered enough to address. It's also kind of giving, how dare you? And I thought to myself, why? Why is that? Why is it that once I communicated something, especially that affected my family, and you don't address it, you kind of ghost me, and you're supposed to be a friend? And that's crazy, because it just shows like the lack of regard for what it takes to be a family and travel to a different state and show up for someone, for them to not even acknowledge it or appreciate it. And if you want to hear the full story time, you can listen to it on my TikTok. Sometimes people are so caught up in their own views and their own life that they're unable to acknowledge not only just people, but their lives, their whole lives. It's just strange to me. And I feel like that's what happens so often nowadays. I notice my life is so important to me because I've taken a lot of time and years and dedication to have the life that I have, and I still want more, but the life that I have right now is a life that I prayed for. I honor this life. I cherish this life. And when there's someone around me who's not respecting that life the way that I would respect theirs, you gotta go, baby. You gotta go. You gotta respect this life that I built. You have to respect it. I saw something about being equally yoked, even in friendships. That's so real. You have to be equally yoked. If you're not respecting the dynamic of this life that God has blessed me with, and you feel like you're above it or it's beneath you, you gotta go. And I don't care to explain myself. I used to be the type to need to explain myself and need to, validate myself to others. And no, we're not doing this anymore. My family is important. My family is my priority before anything else. So if you don't even have that type of respect for my family, then you don't deserve to be in my life. You don't deserve to have access to my life. You don't deserve to be near me, period. And I wish you the best of luck with the rest of your endeavors. Child, people are just showing themselves left and right. And I think I never really understood how deep it was until I became a mom. And it just blows my mind. So if you're a mom and you're listening and you can relate, or you feel validated, I just want you to know I do this for you, not for anyone else. I really don't give a shit about anyone else anymore. But no, I'm kidding. Obviously, I want to have listeners who maybe have never experienced anything that I'm talking about, but are even just intrigued at this perspective. But I was, yapping to my husband, and even he was like, you're very passionate, Kaylin. This is a lot, and not everyone has the capacity to just hear all of this. But if you were able to listen and if you stayed, I just want you to know that we're in this together. Even if we never talk, we're in it together because we deserve to feel important. We deserve to feel like what we did was important. Even when the world tries to make us feel like it's not. Even when our jobs try to belittle it. Even when men who are watching or women who are watching have these comments about it that are contradictory to uplifting you. fuck them. Fuck them. They're not going to understand until they're quite literally walking in your shoes. So keep going. You know that you're doing that shit. You know that you're not just a mom, but you're also a boss. A boss. You're a creator. You're an influencer. You're a business owner, entrepreneur. Or you might be a full-time employee with a goal to get a house. And no one's going to clap their hands for you. But guess what? I'm fucking clapping for you because you deserve to be clapped for. And it takes something deep and it takes something harsh and real to tap into that as a mom. And I salute you. Thanks for listening to Mommy Muse podcast with your host, Kaylin Lavina. Until next time, love you, babe.